Hello YouTube, I'm Elwirfy, and today we're going to be working some more on this wonderful Predator Annihilator tank. It's going to be great. Check it out. This is going to stay detached for now, which is totally fine. And we're actually going to talk about some stuff I've done. I've glued this top part on. It's very easy if you want to look at it. You just take that piece, you put it in and you glue it. It's really straightforward, really simple. Just do that. As you can assume, I finished the tire tracks. So it's all good. Check it out. We have because we glue smartly, we have a door that can open. I want to show that off real quick. Okay, maybe it can't open. Maybe due to gluing reasons, it cannot open. Which is not the end of the world. You don't need the door to open at all. This is not a transport tank. It does not do such a thing. So, something to also think about is that since this is going to be a tank where you're going to have this gun on top that's going to swivel, we don't need those holes right there. So we're actually going to go ahead and we're going to be taking our glue and we're going to be gluing those down right now. But first, before that, we are actually going to go ahead and glue in these pieces. Let's glue on those side guns and then we're about to be done. Then we can move on to painting. All you got to do is take this item and you're going to lock it in place like that. See? Now I'm going to glue it in. To be, safe and efficient. And then once those things are locked in, that's when I like to go ahead and put the guns in. Now, if I had done this correctly, I wouldn't have even glued in these doors had I known that the instructions, there were 2 instructions on the paper, and that's the way I messed up. But since I know that, I do know how to fix it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this glue, right? We're going to take the glue, and we are going to go ahead and glue the top parts of the tank. So see, we're going to take the glue right here. We're gonna put out a nice layer. If you can see that, a nice layer across. That's how we're gluing it. Then set the glue down. Now see how there's 2 prongs sticking up right there and 3 on the underneath part, the 3, that's what goes inside. And then I'm gonna snap it in place, and then the glue will hold it together, and you want to just kind of let it. Nope, sorry about that. No, I'm not perfect at this. I'm gonna add some more glue actually. I'm gonna add some more glue to make it sure that it's a little bit stronger. Because I really would hate for this to get messed up. Again, you just lock it in place, make sure it's gonna stay up, even flipping it sideways if needed. And then boom, you have the top part of that. And so see how the guns are gonna connect just like in the ball Predator. It's the same kind of thing. Yep, because that's the underneath side, and then that's on top. Perfect. And then when we go to glue the gun in, you'll see how it's kind of long. It's kind of long. It cannot be pushed through. I've tried pushing it through, and I don't want it to block the tread, so we're actually going to cut it. And yes, I've thought long and hard about this. We are going to cut it. And I'm going to do it perfectly, so that way, see how there's a little indent? Let's move close to the camera. See how there's a little indent right there? I hope, it's kind of blurred. Hold on. I'm zoomed out all the way. All right. But there is an indent, and we're going to cut on the indent. So we're not going to go past it. All right? Boom. You cut it. But remember, worst case scenario, if you make a mistake, you can always glue more. So then, this way, we see how when we go to stick it in, well, we're going to glue it. We're going to cheat glue it. We're going to do cheating glue. But then, it'll be held up, and it'll look normal. It'll look right. Even if it doesn't make sense right now, it will look correct. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to take this. We're going to line it up right. Oh, sorry about that. Bumped the camera. Not always a good thing to bump the camera. I like keeping the camera intact in general. All right. So now we cut the other bit, as you can see right here. Perfect. And again, I'm just gonna, off camera so I can see it, I'm just gonna trim. I'm trimming it to make it a little more even. But in general, that's what you're gonna need to do. So I like to come around here now, while this is gluing, and we're gonna do the, sorry, we're gonna do the exact same thing. We're gonna take our glue here, and we're just going to apply some glue across. A nice thick layer. And then we're going to come up here and we're going to lock it in place. Hold on. It's being a little... Oh, there's a bump. You gotta check for bumps. There's a little gray bump there that's making it tough. And there's nothing wrong with reapplying glue. Mistakes happen, as I'm sure you're aware from doing any sort of Warhammer 40k project. But that's just part of it. You gotta get used to that fact. Take our piece here, reapply some glue, because glue doesn't always want to work that way. Set the glue off to the side, grab your tank, and lock it in place. You know what I mean? Just push upwards, make sure it's level. And that's how it's gonna connect. And again, you want to come over here, make sure it's level, even and solid. And you'll know it'll be good when you push it in and everything. See how this one isn't as locked in, the one on the right. So I'm just gonna make some minor adjustments to make sure it's good, and looks like it'll be all right. Okay, so see how that's just gonna dry? That's just gonna dry, and then we'll be able to put on the side guns when it's dry. You don't wanna put the guns on while it's drying. So now we're gonna go ahead and put on the little circles. I like to do the sides first while I'm picking it up, so that way we can get more things done at the same time. So I'm gonna just take some glue, and we're just gonna put glue on the inside of these circles. Then we come over here and we take the circle, and then you pick a side you want. They're double-sided. I like the one with more bits on it. Oh, pick it up, and then you just kind of place it in. A nice thing about using this side of the circle means that you also will get and you see I'm just trimming. Nice thing about putting the circle in with the side where the oops. Oh no, it fell on the floor. I'm gonna grab it real quick. Just gotta grab it. Here we go. The nice thing about having a circle with the grippy part out is that it'll make sure that you're gonna be able to to glue it. Right? And if you make a mistake, or if it doesn't completely want to go in, you can adjust it until it perfectly goes into place. Wow, I've never had so much trouble with these circles. Usually they just lock right in. Hold on. There we go. There, now it's in place. Now we're going to do the same thing for the other circle. Doing the same thing for the other circle. Make sure you're looking at that. You want to make sure that they're not collapsing or falling. If they are, you might need to apply some extra pressure to there. In which case, we'll talk about that in a second. Let me just come over here. And we're going to grab the other circle capper. I'm just going to cut it out off screen here real quick. So that way, just because I want to make sure the edges are nice and trimmed, so that way when I put it in, it's not going to be horrifying or, you know, anything crazy. And when we paint this tank, I mean, you're going to see, I mean, you've seen the paint jobs on my tanks. You'll know that it's going great. So then we're going to take our tank, bringing it back into the camera view, and we're just going to do some glue again. On the inside of this. Then pretty much just gonna jam it down. I like to put, since this is a cool cross on it, I like to put the cross where the smaller end is facing the outside of the tank. Then you know, you pick it up, just pop it in. If it doesn't fit completely, it's not the end of the world. And it doesn't have to be perfectly, you know, popped in either. I mean, if it doesn't, all right. Well, it's locked in there, as good as it's gonna get. It's not the end of the world if it's not perfect. So yeah, so see how that end is collapsing a little? With I'll show you how to fix it. You just want to push it up, right? You want to push it up against itself, and then add some glue on top, which I find to be very helpful. And remember, if you're worried about paint coming off in the process of this gluing, don't worry about it, because it's not going to be a big deal, because no one really looks underneath those spots. But two, sorry, if you're wondering, I'm just gluing under there. So it'll dry, and then you don't want to touch it. You just want to let it sit, let it do its thing. But we can talk about the final steps, which is just going to be putting on the guns, because I personally, I'm not going to glue this. I'm not going to glue the gun onto the top. So what do you do about this little cover? Well, there's a couple things you can do. You can either cover it, or you can put a guy on there. Now, I'm not going to put a guy on there because I don't personally, you know, feel a need to. In fact, the way I've been using my tank so far is I just haven't been covering it. Will I change that? I'm not sure. I'm not sure, to be honest. Because it is possible for that, you know. You can get away with not covering up the hole on top. It's not the biggest deal in the world, I found. But here's a cool thing. We can actually we can put some stuff on the back to make it look a little cooler. Let's actually go to the instructions. Gotta love the instructions, right? Let me pull it up so you guys can see it. Oh, yes. So, over here we're gonna, as we build it, I'll make it work. Or we don't need it. It's not required in any way. In fact, I could cheat my way to do this. Yeah. Because there's like an ammo box on the back, and then it's supposed to lock in, kind of, but it's not required. It just makes it look a little better. Well, that goes on. Oh! No, I didn't make a mistake. I did not make a mistake. Don't worry. I actually found out I did everything just fine. So we're going to make this ammo box on the back. We're going to make an ammo box and glue it to the back of this gun, which, keep in mind, is completely... Oh god, yes, it is completely flexible, which is very good. But I think the glue came off on the top. Well, either way, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to make this little box. Oh, did it just snap in? It appears to have just snapped in. Yep, I guess I don't need to glue it. I will glue it though if something happens. So what happens here is, because this thing, it's supposed to be movable, right? This is completely normal, but I noticed that it's coming up, so we're actually gonna be gluing. We can just take it apart. There's nothing wrong with taking things apart. By the way, in Warhammer. Oh, maybe I didn't even glue it. I might not have even glued it. I might have done that just for show. So, gluing this top part. Don't glue the bendy bit, but feel free to glue everywhere else on the edges. Yeah, I didn't even glue it. Huh. Interesting. I feel like that's something I would have done. Oh well. I guess now it's going to be glued. Now I should glue it into place. So we take it and we sandwich it. Again, remembering we have not glued the flexible part of the gun, right? Then we just hold it down, we clamp it. I might even get my special clamp. And then we're gonna clamp it down. And then we're gonna put some gun stuff on the back, which is very exciting. So I'm just pressing it down. Might even clamp it down, let it sit and wait a little bit. And I might even get ahead and start doing some painting because I have a battle today. Isn't that amazing? I'm actually going to a battle today, and I really want this tank to be done by the time it's battle time, essentially. So, making a tank in 3 days. 3-day tank. Isn't that amazing? So, I'm going to go ahead and glue on the back of the box, I think, or just clamp. No, I should clamp it down. I'm going to clamp this down for a little bit. Take our nifty clamps here. Make sure do not break your stuff. That is like the worst thing you can do. But you take it and you just lightly press down. making a sandwich. Oh, do not, don't lean it on things that won't necessarily help. Heck, you can even use the back of the tank, because that's not really being glued, to just as a support. Actually, should be okay. Should be fairly good. So on the back, here, let's just glue the back. Let's just glue the back. I've just been thinking about how I want to do this. So what you do is you put some glue. I like to just smother it onto the back of this, on those connection parts, and then grab our ammo box, which may or may not come off at some point during this. Just be aware of that it could happen. It doesn't really lock into place. It more of just sits there. And then that's something you want to hold. And you just hold things. And there's nothing wrong with just holding things down in order for them to work and glue on. See, that'll come on, and then that's what the tank is gonna look like on top when we put the gun piece on top. Very cool. Very cool. Again, everything just kind of falling into place. You know, nothing too crazy happening. And we're just gonna set that piece down very carefully. We're not gonna touch it. We're actually gonna come over here to this tank. Actually, I'm gonna touch it a little bit. I'm gonna slide it all the way over there so it doesn't get messed up or wrecked. So we're gonna come over to the tank. So these are fairly secure. Fairly, keep in mind. And all you gotta do is you flip the tank over. Flip the tank on its tummy. And then this is the hardest part. I don't want to do it off camera because I want you to see how this works. This is the most important part. Is gluing the guns onto the holes and then them just being secure. It's gonna suck. I'm gonna be honest. This is just the most difficult part of this whole tank, is putting on the side spawns and las cannons. So what do you do? All right. Well, I'll do one of them for you on camera. I'm not gonna make you sit through both. This is the most frustrating part for me for building these tanks. So you take this glue and you put glue on the top, and then you hold it down. But the thing is, I can't clamp it. I have to just put it in there and just hold it. And that's it. I mean, that's all you actually do. But it's like you gotta be super still. And you gotta just wait. And wait. And wait. And there's ways to, like, I'm gonna probably lean this up against something and securely fasten it through a very intricate series of, you know, things to make it work, in order for it to be glued and stay still. So that's probably gonna be all for today, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and I do have to do some off-camera stuff, which is sad. I know you probably don't like off-camera stuff, because it means that, oh, you know, it's like you're missing something. You're really not. The last phase of the video is probably going to be the painting, which is going to be exciting. Gotta love painting. Painting's always a fun part of this. I actually really like the painting. So I'm going to go ahead and end it here. I'm going to finish up the gluing sections of the tank, and then I'll see you. I'm Elwirfy, and I'll see you guys next time. Actually, quick add in here. Sorry about that. This is what it's like to glue in these guns. You put them upside down and you hold them up. I like to use tissue and just, you know, brace them, and they need to stay still, and it's very important. These are the most breakable objects. When I travel, I'm gonna probably be wrapping them in tissue. Obviously it'll be glued, so it'll be a lot easier and it's less likely to break. But after this, I'm actually gonna do some special bracing. I'm just gonna like kind of do special gluing to hold them together, because as you can see, they're not physically touching anything except for the bottom, which is horrifying design, actually. Horrible design. Now it's supposed to be locked into place, but because of the paint, I have to use glue. And while glue is, you know, it's fine, it's stable, it's not always the best. So yeah, quick edit in there. Sorry to take up any more of your time. Just it is a very critical part of the process, and I figured, well, I may as well just show you what it's like to glue them in. And you got to get them lined up. You got to make sure they're stable, and then I'm gonna walk away from this and let it sit for a couple hours and make sure that, you know, just so that way they solidify in their same spots before I even think about picking up the tank. I would never pick up the tank while it's in such a critical state, because all we're gonna do, because that's done gluing, is then painting. So anyway, sorry about that. See you in the next video.